Good morning, and welcome to Who Am I? Just want you to know, even though I am streaming, I am so new to streaming, it freaks me out a little bit, so I'm not going to be looking at my chat room. I'm not even going to be looking to see if there's anybody in the room. It's a little past 5:30 a.m., November the 25th, 2024. And I am broadcasting from somewhere near the Rio Grande, United States Pacific, no, United States Mountain Time. Anyway, I'm practicing a muscle. My muscle is, can I stream? I can make videos, and you can go over and look at my channel. I've got, God knows, I don't know, well over 200 videos, because I do them every day. It's just me riffing. It's just me streaming my riff, as we're going to talk about who am I? Who are we as human beings? Forgive me if I flounder, because I'm sort of toggling back and forth between two frames within myself in order to do this broadcast where I am speaking to someone outside of myself, reaching out far, far away from me. Perhaps the only people listening to me will be far away, because right where I am, it's really early. And anywhere west of me, it just gets earlier. So I don't know, last time someone from England was listening to me. Indigo, if you're out there, I hope you find me again today. I do want the audience to know that I'm not looking. I'm not going over there and looking at numbers in the chat room or even numbers in the audience, whether there are any, whether there was somebody who stayed for 9 seconds and then left, and then I flounder. I'm just not going to do that. But we are streaming right now. I am not just making my Who Am I video just into the air in my own studio room. We are broadcasting live. Now, whether anybody's picking me up, whether anybody chooses my channel, I have control over that. Yes, I can do things to entice people this way. But right now, it is what it is. And so I'm just going to do the show. So I've been musing about a lot of things this morning. And as a matter of fact, this little show of Who Am I is a kind of a muse. We're going to be talking about some real things. But I'm a general. And my message is a general one. And there's a whole lot of really interesting stuff that you can talk about and still go general. Not pull in too tightly specific on the thing, and stay in the spirit that you're looking for and start roping in different concepts into the same place, the same spirit place. That's what we're going to try to do. So what are we talking about? Source energy. And when you're talking about source energy, you're talking about the nature of things, the nature of myself, the nature of matter around me, the nature of energy around me, the nature of reality with a capital R around me, this matrix of quanta that surrounds me. How does it work, this quantum matrix? This matrix of Planck's that I am coming out of. My physics is coming out of this field. Who am I? But we're not just going to get esoteric, because, you know, we've got a lot of real things to deal with on our plates. And a lot of real human emotion going on, swirling around us. I believe that there are a lot of people who are afraid in this moment. And if I was to tune over to MSNBC, I would find a lot of them. But it's not just MSNBC. It's not just that few people. Half of the country, I think probably Ken Burns is getting ready to probably make the what are the things that he makes? Docu-series of a lifetime, probably, as he cries out, this is what is at stake. This is what is. He's probably going to do. Has he already done one about the Holocaust? I don't know. Humanity has PTSD. I want you to know that. We have generational trauma, and it's passed down in different ways. The things that have traumatized us as human beings. And I'll tell you what, without much in between, at least for me, I was raised by parents who lived through the Second World War. My dad fought in the Second World War, or as I like to call it, the World War Part 2. Because I like to think that there's only one world war. We're only going to have one world war. It had parts 1 and parts 2. Or parts 1 and 2. But there's only one world war. When you say World War I and World War II, it implies that there's going to be World War III and World War IV, and it's just part of what we do. When in actual fact, it was the same impetus, almost literally, because the one who invited us back to part 2 was Hitler. And he was so not done with World War I. He was still fighting World War I. We all called it World War II, but it was still his, Anyway, we're traumatized. We've been traumatized by everything from the flood traumatized us. Here we're bebopping along on a magnificent planet with, technology, stability, abundance, clarity, order, I guess. I'm going to imagine that that's where we were when the flood swept across. It was an asteroid that hit the Caribbean. I think it's the one that hit around Mexico. In any case, an asteroid hit the planet, and massive floods and catastrophes happened. There's a reason how come there's a Noah and the Ark story. The thing is, Christianity sometimes imagines it as a supernatural event almost, where every single creature, that walketh and creepeth upon the planet was put in an ark and saved from the entire planet being, and it wasn't exactly that, but there was probably many, many, many Noah's Arks kind of stories where people escaped in boats, this massive thing that's flooded their civilization. I mean, we're traumatized. We are traumatized. And so in our trauma, when we see something happened, we just had an election. This is what I'm thinking about right now. I'm thinking about the election we just had and who we just elected and what's going on politically in the country, which I'm at the moment trying really hard not to look at too closely because it's going to make me crazy. It's going to kind of make me a little bit sick, as I see what's happening. But ultimately, I know that it's okay, we're okay, they're okay even. And the way to look at this, I'm going general. So, Trump is not Hitler. And what happened last century is not exactly what's going to happen. However, at the core of the problem, what we just stood behind and went, yes, and elected, is the same kind of problem in a way. Um, it I believe that we're suffering from um, if you only knew what it was like to stream, it's different. It's different. Your mind goes in a different way than when you're just making the videos, because you imagine that there could be people out there listening right in this very moment. You don't have time to edit it. If you have to cough, you can't, stop it. They're going to hear you cough. So, anyway, it's difficult. I think this through in my head before, and when I'm just recording, sometimes I can capture it. But this learning the muscle of just being relaxed, and think about it just like any other video when you are streaming. It's a muscle I haven't quite worked out yet. The show is Who Am I? My personal thesis is that every single problem that we face is it being caused pretty much as a result of us not knowing who we are. Now, with perhaps one, no exception. I was going to say climate change, because I think that there is an underlying climate change that is not being caused by human beings, but the exacerbation of climate change and our rigidity and inability to just be flexible and deal with it better is all deeply affected by us not knowing who we are, and that everything, all of our problems would be well ameliorated if we did know who we are. And so every problem that we face is actually us needing to understand who we are. And so I make the show, Who Am I? Who am I? And we're going to talk about, I talk about esoteric things. I believe that we are vibrational beings, and we live in a vibrational universe. And the rules of this vibrational universe are things like that which is like unto itself is drawn. And what you put out is what you get back. It's sort of this echoing, reflective reality, because the whole universe is actually reflecting something back to you. And you're realizing what it is that it's reflecting back to you, and what control you have over how your life reflects back to you based on what you are putting out. And I'm not even talking about, changing your actions outwardly, so much as beginning the process of following the impulse that you find from within you. It starts with what you're thinking. It starts with how you're feeling. So when I talk about being positive, or what you put out is what you get back, and so the kindness that you put out equals the kindness you get back, if immediately that you think that means you've got to let go of some of your treasure, or spend some of your time passing out blankets at the homeless shelter, and you don't want to do that, and so you must be a bad person, and so you just sit and flog yourself about being a bad person instead. I'm not talking about that. That is actually imagining from the outside what you, I'm air quoting, should be doing. And then when you don't do that, feeling bad about yourself, that's a sort of a short circuit you've got yourself into. We're not talking about that. We're talking about following that inner impulse, believing in who you are, staying in the positive. Even if you aren't doing anything, you can just sit in your chair and think positive. It's a good start. It's what I do. And you know what? I'm starting to feel the stirrings of impulse to act along the lines of this pure positive energy person that I believe myself to be. And part of what has been born out of this is my show, because I don't do this show because I have to, or because I feel like I should, or anything. It has been born kind of because I wanted to, and I don't even know where it came from. But something inside of me has been building me a platform so that I can speak, so that I can just riff to the world, riffity riff about what I think about the nature of our problems, the nature of our solutions, where we might be going, how to look at certain things from certain things that might actually be negative, but how to look at them from a positive perspective so that we can see that actually. So I have a concept within my teachings, pet concept. It's not. It's just words that I put together. I talk about the object of the exercise, and what do I think the object of the exercise is? And I think that that's a really important question. And any human being asking themselves, what's the meaning of what I'm looking at? What's the meaning of myself? Who am I? Where'd I come from? What the hell's going on? What am I supposed to be doing here? What's the object of the exercise here? What is the object of the exercise? To expunge myself of the sin that I carry just because I was born of mortal woman, or whatever. What is the object of my exercise? And you could say that we have a kind of collective sin going on, but it has to do with us not knowing who we are and the sins that we commit against ecology and the sins that we commit against one another, all in this exercise that we have of not knowing who we are and not knowing what the object of the exercise is. So think about it. When you think about what's the object of the exercise, depending on how you're answering that question, and I promise you, you are answering that question, but you might be answering it unconsciously. You may never have really thought about it. Well, what do you mean, what's the object of the exercise? I'm here, I gotta get through this effing place, and then as soon as I can lay my body down, then I can rest for all eternity, right? In a way that's kind of true, but it isn't really true. You're gonna be able to lay down the tortured physical self that you might be inhabiting in this moment. But the inner self, the one who is sitting at the front row of, I think of your true self as being the the front row seat to the parade, the eternal watcher, the observer, the one who is there observing what everything is for all eternity. That's who you really are, because that's who you always are. But in this moment, you have put yourself into this creature who is existing in this materially specific moment. And what's the object of your exercise? To be safe in a world that's incredibly dangerous, to gather all the stuff to yourself. He who dies with the most toys wins. Is that the object of the exercise? Is the object of the exercise to understand everything, to know who you are? And actually, I think that the object of the exercise is, first of all, to fully understand the board. Ooh, I get it. Okay, this is what's going on. This is how the energies are flowing. This is what the rules of the game are. This is what is possible. And so the object of the exercise is to achieve whatever it is that your deepest self wants. Your biggest self, your most inclusive self. What does she want? The one who cares about everything, the one who cares about the ecosystem being healthy, the one who cares about the planet continuing in that one. I want that one to be satisfied too. But not just that one. I want all of them to be satisfied. Who am I? Well, it turns out who you really are, it's very conducive for feeling secure about the world, because who you really, 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 really are is an energy field of Planck's that is organizing the field around you into pleasing shapes. Ultimately, that's who you are. That's generally who you are. Now, that was an oversimplification, of course, way, way oversimplification. But when you boil it down to its fundamentals, that's what you are. And so the object of the exercise is to follow your bliss, follow your desire, discover the possibilities, and understand your equipment, and then be yourself and go make some corner of the world a better place because you're there doing it. Whatever it is that you're doing, that you're so excited about, that you love, that you're having so much fun, that you're including others, that you're dancing with the field with. That's what makes the world magnificent. Go dance with the field. Whatever floats your boat, whatever makes you happy. And you might say, well, I don't know what makes me happy. Well, start in little ways. Start in little ways. Practice the art of desiring something, putting your thoughts to it, and then feeling yourself moving towards that, and then didn't that feel good? You know, everything from improving your yard to improving your business, improving your neighborhood, and applying a good idea to a system or a project or anything that you want that would make something smoother, that would make it feel better, that would make it. That's what we're here for. We are reality improving machines, but we've got ourselves focused just a little bit off. Because it's all about attention and focus. Focus and attention is the literal currency of the universe, because the universe is made of consciousness. And so we've got to raise our consciousness and focus our consciousness. That's the object of the exercise, is to understand who we are, focus it in the right direction, and then move, smoothly towards an improvement. That which we want, that which would be better, more free, more abundant, more clear, more loving, more connected, more joyful, more all of that. All human beings like that, want that. We may disagree with how to get there, but that's the destination we're all looking for. I personally believe that you get to this destination by understanding who you are and what this field is, how it operates, what reality is. I'm going to do something really scary and dangerous. Ooh. I'm going to pause in my... No, I'm not going to do it. I cannot see my studio. I cannot see whether there is anybody listening. And if I look over there and somebody's listening, it's going to throw me off. It's going to throw me off. And if I go over there and there's nobody listening, that's going to throw me off. So... if somebody is waving at me, I'm going to wave back, and actually right before I end the show, I will go over there and actually look, but there's probably nobody over there. There's nothing about my show that really would, oh, no, that's not the right one, that really would draw anybody. I'm going to put this one up just in case it having, it might entice people to think that I'm talking about math over here. And I am talking about math to a point. Have you heard of Nassim Haramein and his mathematics? He has mathematically reconciled the cosmological and the quantum world, which is the holy grail of commercial physics. I want you to know that. And maybe the only reason commercial physics has not embraced him is, first of all, they didn't think of it, and second of all, it implies so many things about consciousness and about the way that the universe is connected to itself, that it actually doesn't really serve some commercial needs. It's not going to further their commercial ends, and so they have not embraced it. They're like, oh, surely there's another way to see this, or maybe it's so complex and so wise and so connected to our inner core that they just can't see it. I don't know. But the math was done back in 2012. Not this math. I just put this up so that people might, see my stream and go, ooh, she's talking about Planck units. What is she talking about? I'm talking about the divine matrix, the quantum field, this field of energy that we are all matrixed into, that we are all made of. We are made of Plancks, and that matters because all of the Plancks, through their jiggling together, are uploading their information to the whole, and the whole is downloading its information to all of the parts. We are all jiggling together. We are all reverberating together. We are all one thing, and it is organizing, and it is organizing us. And if we would but understand its divine structure, then we could bake it into every cake we make on this planet. Every organization that we pull together, we make sure that we have this clarity of intention at the center of that organization we're pulling together, because it's going to have a life of its own, and it's going to spin off in time. And if it has poison, negative beliefs at the center of it, it's going to, as it builds its momentum and takes off a life of its own, it's going to have aspects of it that are not going to be in alignment with the rest of the field. And that's, I think, what humanity is facing with a lot of the institutions that were born, 100 years ago, 110 years ago, some such. I have reasons why I give it such a specific number, because many of the institutions that we deal with as human beings on the planet today were initially set into motion by none other than John D. Rockefeller, just past the turn of the last century. And everybody, they admired his philanthropic efforts and stuff, because he set up doctor colleges is the word and I'm trying to come up with a better one than doctor colleges, but the universities to educate our physicians. Maybe that sounds a little bit better than doctor colleges. He set that up. He set up pharmaceutical laboratories and engines of commerce spitting out pharmacology. He was instrumental in setting up the rules. X number of vivisection the tests on animals need to be done with that pharmacology before it's put to market, or legal this and that and the other. So the legal rules, the pharmacology, the pharmacy, the laboratories, as well as the doctor colleges, and all of that was all set up like at the same time. It was a whole system that was put into place. And we live today with the legal and the medical and all of the momentum of all of that crap is still with us today, and it poisons some of the purity of us trying to find all of the answers to our health, cellular coherence, and how to maintain it. Is it best to be done by imagining the body as a mechanical thing that actually pharmacology is not how you would fix a mechanical thing, but we are actually energy beings, and the whole situation is different than our whole setup says that it is. And I don't know what we're going to do with that, because where we're going is such a long way from where we are. So I'm not going to worry about where we are so much. I'm going to focus on where we're going, on an understanding of who we are and what we can do with it once we understand who we are and what we're made of and how to focus, and the understanding of what you're getting is has a direct relationship to how you're focusing on whatever. Are you focusing on problems, or do you have a problem sort of in your peripheral vision as you're focusing on a solution that's really, you know, floating your boat? Do you know what I mean? It's a difference in focus. One is plugged into source and the other one is not. And so I want to talk about I think that the object of the exercise is to understand who we are so that we can, in general, whatever it is that we want to do, we can plug into source and then turn our own minds to whatever it is that we find interesting. Whatever we want to do because we find it's fun. And I have a lot of ideas about what I think people think is fun. And I think that where we are going in the future and what our systems are going to look like, I think that if we just focus that way, that we'll just move that way. But if you focus that way and then spend an awful lot of time going, yeah, but people don't do that. Yeah, but those people aren't doing that. Yeah, but I don't see anybody who's doing that. That in itself will slow everything down. So what do you do when you've figured it out and the whole rest of the world hasn't got it? What do you do with that? When you really, really, really want the rest of the world to catch up? Because if they would, then all of the things that you see as problems out there would just go away because nobody would be looking at it that way. War would go away because no longer would we ever, ever, ever think that the answer, no matter what you've done, is for me to go drop a bomb on you. That is never the answer. It is never, never couldn't possibly be the answer. Although, you know, it's going to turn out okay anyway. Just those people who got the bombs dropped on them, they aren't going to be here, you know. And the people who dropped the bombs on them, they don't understand yet. Who am I? Who am I? And how is this all going to work? Well, first of all, we got to understand that we are one morphogenetic field upon this planet. If you have any understanding of what a morphogenetic field, it's like a non-physical, non-visible field of information. And so you're like, well, it's a field of spin is what it is. And contained within whatever that spin is all the information in that field. I don't know how to describe this stuff. I have other pet thoughts. I did say one of my, for the recording, I am going to pause this cough. Oh. Wow. No. Oh dear. Okay. All right, I have another technical issue. While I'm streaming, I can't pause. Am I supposed to be able to? I'll just have to remember that. When I'm not streaming, I can pause. I can pause my recording. I can stop my recording here, but I can't pause it. So I guess we're in it for the whole thing. If I'm streaming, boy, there will be no editing whatsoever. And I just post this raw. Someday I'll do something more with this content. It could be chopped and it could be zhuzhed and zazzed and AI'd and presented in bites, and so that people would pick up on the. But right now, I'm just trying to find my voice. And as it turns out, I cannot pause this recording, so here we go. We are 34 minutes in. we are discussing the nature of reality. That is what we're discussing. And the background assumption is we are vibrational beings in a vibrational universe. Law of attraction is a thing. Actually, I have a thing I call addition consciousness. It's where I just add all the gurus in. Add every positive person who's trying to say anything about the nature of the universe. Add them in. See all of them as though they were... Do you know the old analogy, the old story, I don't know what you call it, a fable? I don't know what it is. But what it is it's a bunch of blind men standing around at different positions on an elephant, talking about, or arguing perhaps, about what an elephant is. No, it's like a snake. No, it's like a rope. No, it's more like a sail. No, I think it's more like a tree. No, it's much more like a wall. And everyone is standing, at a different point of the elephant. And if they're arguing about it, then we've got a problem. Nobody's really coming to a greater understanding of what the whole thing is we're looking at. But if everybody's adding their information to each other, saying, well, from here it looks like this, and somebody else goes, well, from here it looks like this, and then there's some consciousness in the center that is adding all of that up, going, oh, I see what it is. This is what you can do with religion, people. Quit thinking of it in terms of this or that or that. Every one of us standing in any religion is pointing at some aspect of this same elephant that we are all looking at. And so the answer is add it all up. Addition consciousness as opposed to subtraction consciousness, which is like you fend it off at the door. Subtraction consciousness is you fend it off at the door. You look at it from the frame of, whatever you imagine yourself to be at the doorway of your consciousness, and you say, that idea makes sense, I will add it in, or that idea, I don't like that idea, I will throw it away. And that produces the cynic. The addition consciousness produces at first it's the gullible one, but later it's the allower, the one who sees the whole world for what it is and understands everybody's position as simply a perspective. When you believed everyone, what you actually did was you allowed their perspective into your consciousness. And at first, people were pulling your leg, or might have believed people who weren't very wise. But if you did that with everyone, then you start to see, oh, that's what we all are. We all are this thing that you could add together, and we would be so wise and we would be so efficient, and we could produce abundance beyond anyone's wildest imagination. That's who we really are, this one being. We are one being on planet Earth. Now, you might say, I beg to differ. We are all individuals, and you are also correct there. We are all autonomous individuals, and this harkens to another idea that is part of my teaching, which I call divine autonomy. Your divine autonomy is just that. It's divine, and you are autonomous. You have control over your spin. Your spin. You have absolute control over your spin and how you blend it with the rest of the spins of all the rest of the universe. You have control over your point of attraction. You have control over your point of spin. Now, your source self has a spin going on too. It is a spin we all share. We are all spinning in a great, vast spin of the cosmos. We are all spinning together. And yet, we are all spinning individually. And each one of us can plug into the call of source and then call your own spin. Or not. You can do whatever you want, actually. You are autonomous. You are divinely autonomous. And if you will build from the center of your divine autonomy a momentum of positivity, you can overcome a lot of the storms and vagaries of the negative world around you, the chaos that swirls around us, because we are living in, as we understand and don't understand ourselves, we are swirling in little pockets of chaos and coherence. And you get to decide who you are in all of this. You are divinely in charge of who you decide you are, and what you resonate with, and what you are giving your attention to, what you're focusing on, because that is guiding your starship. How you are focused, what you're looking at, the way you're looking, the way you're looking at it, the way it makes you feel when you're looking at it. All of that is an indication of which direction you are moving your light ship through this divine cosmos that it's actually not what it appears to be, although you're supposed to play it in a way like it appears to be, because it's a game we're all playing. But it's actually ever so cool, and you have so much more control than you ever thought. But you don't have control over the outside. You have control over you, and how, if, and when you blend with the greater whole, and what parts of it you resonate with, because I'm telling you, there's everything out there on the buffet. Everything from the most wicked of wickednesses, and divine of divinities, and, the muddiest of muddies and the clariest of clarities. It's all out there on the buffet. And whatever you're paying attention to and focusing on, that's where you're going. Even if you think that you are focusing on that negative thing from some sort of positive reason. I'm focusing on pedophiles, people, because I have a child, and this world is real. And so I have to focus that way, because I have to make sure that I do not, because I'm thinking about moving, and I don't want to be the one that moves into the neighborhood with the creepy guy next, whatever. That's what you tell yourself. But this is not keeping you safe. This will not keep you safe. What will keep you safe is understanding the true nature of the universe, and then finding your connection to your vibrational greater self. Know that you only have that connection if you feel good, at least content. You have to feel at least content, or you don't have a good connection with this greater self that you are. This greater self that you are feels at least content all the time, is perfectly happy with all things, even unto Holocaust, doesn't have a problem with any of it, understands completely that it's just a question of you catching up and understanding what it is you're looking at in order to set the order back, to soothe the chaos and encourage the coherence. You've got to understand what it is. Its spin is what it is, but it's positive spin and negative spin, and it has to do with your greater configuration. You are a vibrational being in a vibrational universe, and you do have a greater aspect of yourself that is vibrationally in touch with all things real. Your spirit self, I can't get over this one myself. It's why I keep saying it over and over again to myself. I say it to other people all the time too, my daughters, if they ever need help. Your spirit self is not all about spirit. Your spirit self is intimately in contact with all things real. It knows what's real. It knows what current events are. It knows who just got elected president, and it's not worried about it. You know? Because we need to understand who we are, and who we are is humanity with a capital H. We are humanity with a capital H. We cannot be pushing against one another. We need to understand that we are all in this together. I got to turn the heater down. Excuse me. There is no us and them, and so we should quit thinking that way. We should quit thinking about the things that aren't real, and we should only think about what's real. Now, you might say, okay, there's only one of us here, but how about those really bad people? And there's really bad people. Only there aren't any really bad people. What there are really good people who completely do not understand who they are, along with all the rest of us don't understand who we are. And we've been creating these really bad people because we don't understand how fragile is a baby human psyche, how easily it is scarred, and then what that scar tissue produces in their thinking as far as, negative beliefs, their belief in negative beliefs, which actually are poison to the well, because the only ones that are really true are positive. The others are, they might be true, but they're agents of chaos and disorder. And those come into play only when we are not in alignment. That chaos and disorder is something that we create when we aren't in alignment, when we create the systems that we create, our transportation systems and our energy systems and our healthcare systems and our economic systems. They are not in alignment. They aren't in alignment with who we really are. They aren't in alignment with the field. We weren't in alignment when we created them, and they are leaving souls out. There are beings out there who don't have good opportunity to, raise their children in safe environments with, decent physical conditions. It would be nice if we would understand who we are, because I'm telling you, we could all the people out there who are doing little or nothing, and maybe part of what they are doing is somewhat destructive. Idle hands are the devil's workshop, after all, all of those people, if we were all directed in a positive direction, understanding where we were really heading, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. We need to transform our energy systems. What do we need to transform them to? Over unity. Over unity, simple as that. Over unity. What the hell is over unity, you ask? Over unity is a device that puts out more energy than we didn't have to run it with oil, or it puts out more energy units than it takes us energy units to run them. Now, if you've been conventionally educated, you would object to that. You'd say, well, that sounds impossible. Amelie, that sounds impossible. I am your hostess, Amelie Starchild, only that's not my real name. You might be able to find my real name on my channel, so I'm not really hiding it. But my ego identity is not, I don't want it to be the primary thing in my format, in my show. I don't want it to be all about me. I want it to be about the ideas that we are, and what we can do with this once we understand, it's a question of focus. It's a question of attention. What you think about, whether you like it or not. And so it's best to think, don't spin your thoughts with negative thread. Those thoughts and beliefs and things that you create spun with negative thread will have poison in them as they morph through time. And the momentum of that negative will get bigger until finally you see it and you go, oh my God, look at what that has grown into from where it was when we started. That is, if you have the capability of looking way back there and here at the same time, which, what do you need for that? You need technology. You need things like Masterpiece Theater, the ability to imagine yourself into, the pre-World War I times, for instance. Downton Abbey. Go binge watch Downton Abbey and then muse about how that war changed the world. In actual fact, we didn't have to do war, but because we don't know who we are and we didn't understand what was going on, and we still don't seem to understand that what we're trying to do is up level in consciousness, in our greater understanding of who we are. And I think that that's going to happen because our greater self, our self with a broader vantage point, is sort of echoed in the internet. In the internet, you have every human being connecting to the internet can imagine the connection to all the rest of everybody else on the internet, and you start to have a way to identify with your own broader perspective. I mean, it's just a combination of all kinds of things start coming together, and humanity is going to go with this V8 moment. Oh, yeah, that's who we are. Look at how this works. This greedy ass weird money shit thing we've been doing. It's all well and fine to a point. And as a matter of fact, if we have to have Jeff Bezos over there in place in order to get some really good system in place so that we can just twinkle our little nose with this Accio magic, I summon thee to me, and by the end of day, I've got a tablecloth for Thanksgiving dinner in my, or whatever it is. It's magnificent, the things that we are doing. And we do them for humanity. And this thing that Amazon is it's a system that we could use to collectively, I don't know how to make sure that it all gets included. I think what I don't want to argue for things that I shouldn't be arguing for. What I'm saying is there's value everywhere. And if you pull together within your own core a vision of all the things that have value pulled together in your own mind's eye, and then you look at it and you go, oh my gosh, look at who we are and where we're going. If you quit the insistence on pushing back against specific individuals in negative ways and see it from this broader perspective, you'll go, oh yeah, look at all the stuff that's good. And then you go, oh, but look at all these places where we are not in alignment. Oh my God. And the answer is alignment. The answer is alignment. Soothe each other into alignment. Inspire one another to your alignment. Because alignment and not alignment are the only problems that we experience. They are the only problems that we've got. We don't have any other problems besides that. So I had the Planck units up for the longest time. I never said what the Planck units were. What's a Planck? It's the smallest frequency that you can imagine in this density of this universe. It's the shortest one. You get it by taking a photon going at the speed of light, crossing its own diameter. How far did that go? What is that? It's a really tiny distance. It's there's a little equivalence of mass and energy there that's really, really small. It's really small. It didn't take very much time. It's a Planck. And the whole universe is made of these Planck oscillators. And the universe is actually a solid pack of these Planck oscillators. And when they go into organization, when they go into spin, we call it stuff. And when they aren't spinning, when they're just potential oscillation there, we call it space. And when some parts of the field go into swirling organization, we call that hurricanes and tornadoes and dust devils. And but everything is spinning. It is all spin. It is all... And who am I in all of that? And how do I navigate the waters of this thing that I am? I tell you what, I can see that I'm almost up to an hour, so I'm going to sneak over there to the chat room and see whether by any miracle chance anybody found me today. Has anybody been listening to my diatribe? It looks like I have no views whatsoever. So we've got to do something about that. I don't know how to raise my viewership out there, but obviously it didn't do anything. I have an excellent connection. I have absolutely nobody in the chat room. Nobody viewing. Well, isn't that sad? Well, I gotta figure it out. I don't understand what the problem is. I wonder if... What happens if I do this? What does that do? Oh. Huh. Is that what I had to do? And now somebody can see it. Oh. Oh. I bet I had to do that. And I didn't do that. Okay. Well, tomorrow will be better then. Okay. All right. Well, I've been at it for close to an hour. I think I'm going to... I'm going to sign off for now. You can pick this up on my live, on my videos or my podcasts, which I don't know how anybody sees that either. Everybody is flooding the market with voices. Hey, I want to speak. I want to speak. I want to speak. And so I'm just down there in the clamor somewhere. Hopefully my wisdom catches on at some point. I would like to see humanity up-level to a magnificent degree. Who are we? Who are we? I would like to see us living the future that I know that we can. And I find that very interesting that I cannot stop recording. You know, I didn't even mention today about getting off fossil fuels, but I probably shouldn't speak about it as in getting off fossil fuels, but rather adding over unity to our lexicon of energy possibilities, to inject a fusion of new energy into Project Humanity so that we can create abundance on planet Earth. Let's resequester the carbon that we have unleashed in the atmosphere. Let's recycle all the garbage we've thrown into the oceans. Let's rebloom the deserts that we have grown by desalinating millions of gallons of ocean water and piping it into dry areas and creating vast, beautiful gardens all over planet Earth. We can re-garden planet Eden. We can do that. And I am advocating very highly that we do so. What else? So many other things to talk about. I just don't know if I want to start anything else because I'm going to be ending in like 20 seconds. I will still be scheduling a live seminar at some point, but I'm going to crack the code of this not having anybody in the audience. I'm going to crack that code before I ever do a seminar because I don't want to do 8 hours and have nobody in the room with me. That would be sad. That just would be sad. Now, I can post it to my videos later and, you know, 1 or 2 people will find it, but I will crack this code, people. And until tomorrow, I have at least done my part in being better at speaking to myself for an hour without interruption. Let me see whether it's possible that had I started that earlier, I might have a viewer. So we'll check it out tomorrow. Maybe I'll catch a viewer tomorrow. But for all of you people who listen to my regular videos, I'm going to end it for today. And so you do the best you can. I love you. Stay cool. And until tomorrow, may that source be with you.